Well, hello and welcome to Tarot for Our Times. This is Sarah, your medium on the go, and I know I'm a few days late in getting the September forecast done, and it was a couple trips up to Lilydale and the holiday weekend and all that sort of thing that threw me a little bit off my schedule. But I would say that the Epstein, I would call them survivors rather than victims, because that's survivors. This is what they do. They get very brave and they tell their story. So I think that it seems to me that they are setting the tone for the month, that things are going to get pretty heated up with the Epstein matter. And I would also continue by saying that Taco made a big mistake about saying that the victims were lying and it's a hoax. It's kind of like Law 101 is that no matter how hard you're defending your accused of rapist client, you never go after the victim. There's nothing that turns a jury off more than attacking the victim. And we are the jury. So that was really a big mistake. I also think that's probably part of the whole dementia for entertainment purposes only. And of course, we've just come over like, where is he now? What I was picking up on that is that I wasn't, the whole thing, is he dead? No, I didn't think that. Seriously ill, yes. Possible episodes of a heart attack or stroke, but on kind of like mini levels. He looked perfectly awful when he finally did emerge. But I would say this is just part of this. So that's another thing that got the month going, is the health and the whole Epstein matter. So what I want to do, I can never remember exactly how I do this for months. I just kind of do whatever I feel led to doing. So this month, what I'm going to do, before I go into the cards, I'm going to pick the Victorian Oracle card to set the tone for the month. So let's see what randomly picked out thing where we have. Oh, interesting. Intuition. I think a lot of the truths that will be coming up, we will have to be using our intuition and our gut level, which is another word for it, to pretty much make out what's between the lines of being reported in this sort of thing. And I would also say, in navigating our daily lives, keeping our heads above water and everything, a lot of times you want to make some good plans, but I think whenever you get that feeling, you need to go with it. So I think, and we're getting back into eclipse season again. And that's a highly intuitive, I think we're just a few days off from I think it's a lunar eclipse. And I believe the astrologers say that that's the time when the truth is, it's a shadow of the sun, between the sun and the moon. So the shadow gets revealed. That's the sort of thing. Things get dark and then things get light and the new truth comes out. Okay. So what I came up with is death meets judgment. And I did my last reading at the end of last month on judgment, which is basically the rising of the people in the spirit world, like the chickens coming home to roost or karma, whatever you want to call it. So death is always on the move, and on my thumbnail I have Lady Liberty as the knight on the horse, and it's the journey of the beginning of the end. And the knight recognizes the dead below and what needs to go and what needs to change to make the transformation. So we're pretty much on that journey now. And in this, I often see judgment is the reckoning. I believe that with these women coming forward and being very credible, that it's going to be very, very hard to try to discredit them. And that's why we have Democrats and Republicans are kind of rising out of the grave, because that may be the only thing they cooperate, go bipartisan on. Well, we've got whatever this is, whatever you want to call it, going on. And it's also saying that this is not, and that's what all these women said, not Democrat, not Republican, or even MAGA. It's this just transcends everything. And with Marjorie Taylor Greene doing the intro, that is really something. At first I thought, oh, it's very opportunistic, but then as I put all of my opinions aside and watched her, and how she was very, I mean, I will always disagree with just about everything else, but her sincerity and the feeling she put it into it is telling me that it's personal. I'm not going to go into any details, but I think at Hogarth's program tonight, they did touch on that a little bit. Now, whether it's her or a loved one, but this, it's like alcoholism. It does touch everybody's life, whether it's happened to them or someone they love very much. So it seemed very personal to her, and that's when she wasn't quite ready to, she was a little bit hesitant on the Trump thing, but she's pretty much, we're going to let the chips fall where they may. So before I put the laptop down, I'm going to pick a before tarot as to how the month begins, and the after tarot as to how the month is going to end, and then we'll do the week by week. So, okay. So, in the before, and that's interesting. I was wondering, how is this different from the other? And I've got it in reverse. When this is upright, it's taking a little rest. When this is in reverse for me, this is pretty much signifies the literal meaning of the coffin. But I've been trying to rack my brains to see how it's different than the regular. Those stained glass windows are open. So that whether they're, let's see, if it's before, they may be getting ready to close. Might be getting ready to close as for something to read. Or they could be getting ready to open. And then we have butterflies coming in, which is about transformation, metamorphosis, but this is it does go along with the death card. It is the beginning. The death card is the beginning of the end. And this is pretty much about the whole theory of this is just a big made up hoax, is pretty much RIP on that one. Okay, then we have in the after, which I've shuffled up. So this month is going to end. I think we're going to be getting some whoppers of hurricanes. I don't know how much I'm going to concentrate on that with all of this other stuff going on, but we'll see what the cards say. The month will end up, okay. with the sun in reverse. It's very interesting because what this tells me, it looks like this one guy is trying to pull the curtain over the sun, but it's in reverse. There will be more cover up attempts, but as I say, the sun always shines through. So these figures represent a conspiracy to not shed the light on things, but impossible. The truth always comes out, and it really goes to the expiation with Moses, MAGA Mike, adjourning the house early, thinking, well, if I do that, they'll just go to the beach and forget about it. Well, boom. This is really started with a bang. So we're going to do week by week. So week number 1, I've already said that's kind of gotten off to its start. So give these a little bit of a shuffle. So week number 1. Okay. So week number 1 begins with the Fool. And the Fool is getting ready to, begin the cycle, make the big leap. But I think that dog I think he needs his dog spirit guy, which is just getting up. So he's getting ready to make the big leap and the new beginning. So then we have this, it's the beginning. And then, let's see what's going to happen here with a Gilded Tarot Royale. Let's see, I think I've been doing domestic and foreign front. So on the domestic front, we have 2 of Cups. This is definitely about Republicans and Democrats working to get these files out. I don't know how many Republicans are going to come on board, but they don't need that many. So that is really getting into it. And it's because it's an emotional thing. It's the whole thing that this really has, I have known so many people that have been through this just with relatives and that sort of thing. And I think some that I met in AA that did get trafficked in some sort of a way. And so this is an emotional thing. So this is where the politics dies down. And interesting that we have so they smell something very fishy in the administration. So this goes to Epstein. This goes to the partner with the Epstein thing. So let's see. What else do we have? Now this is the beginning of the week. So let's look and see where this... Oh. The lying and the trickery that's going on. And I would say this is the taco tits, the Moses Mike, trying to pull the rabbits out of the hat and to make this whole thing go away. But this is too strong. It isn't. Well, I'm going to put a clarifier on this one. So let's see what we got here. Yep, because they want to hang on. They just want to hang on to the hoax thing. They really want to hang on for dear life. Then as we get towards the end of the week, King of Pentacles. This could be about things may be stirring up for the budget discussions, the money discussions for the budget crisis that will be coming up at the end of the month. So that may be ending the week. And let's see, on the foreign deal, we have Seven of Swords, and this is all about Taco being left out of the nefarious stuff that Xi Jinping and Putin and all this sort of thing. That's how that has begun, whatever conference that was. Then we have the world realizing that they are dealing with the world's biggest, Page of Cups is my titty baby card, that they're dealing with a big titty baby who cannot be taken seriously, and this deals with the mental illness and whatever drugs may have been abused in the past. So that's pretty much how the rest of the world is looking at him, which reflects on us. And as we get further into the week, this was Queen of Swords. I'm going to say this is probably Tulsi Gabbard and Christy. No, and the rest of those broads just lying. This could actually be Blondie. But since we're dealing with the foreign things, it's Tulsi and that other one. Okay. Costume dominatrix girl. Just lying. So what else is new? So let's see. The week ends with the after tarot is all the lies and stepping in, just about to haven't stepped into it yet, getting a little bit too smug and not keeping their eye out for the booby trap that is set, I would say, on both the foreign and the domestic front. So we've got that going on for week number 1. And all kinds of things like bad health, that sort of thing. So I'm going to so get this shuffled up a bit. Probably use that other deck a little bit more. Okay, we can put this in here. This in here. Oops, yep. Okay. So for week number 2, I did shuffle these. Okay, so for week number 2. Okay, so on the domestic front, we start out with the Knight of Pentacles. Okay. Moving slowly to, I think this is twofold, with the budget, that big atrocious bill, and also with the tariffs that may be moving a little bit slower. I get a sense that maybe, it's a real Taco thing. He kind of chickens out and then he slows it down. So there is that. That's how that week will begin. And let's see what we have here with on the domestic front. We have I would say this whole Epstein thing is going to be taking on a life of its own, that other things may not get done. Now, that's not such a bad thing because they've got a pretty atrocious agenda. So the blessing in disguise for the Epstein debate will be that other god-awful things will be put on hold, possibly even in the White House. That I think that his time will really be taken up with dealing with this. So hopefully that might slow down some of these ridiculous executive orders. Then we have here, always with the give and the take. And there will be a lot of, I think what's going to be happening is what this is telling me is that there could be some hush money being floated out there. Like, I think the threats may be starting to lose their power. So there could be an attempt of some sort of bribery for silence. Okay. Because I'll tell you, I do, I believe that with those women showing their faces today, it would be quite obvious if anything happened to any of them, they know who they're going to go to, and I think they know that that is true. So when all else fails, let's see if we can throw a few bribes their way. Okay, so then we have the Knight of Cups, which is in reverse. So that's telling me that more emotional, cognitive, whatever, with the taco. And the cup in reverse it's also telling me that maybe whatever they're trying to giving him to put Humpty Dumpty back together again may not be working, and I suspect for entertainment purposes only. There could be some abuse of some of that stuff they're giving him. So then, so expect some more crazy stuff coming out of him as we get to the end of the week. And then there's going to be, I would say this, I'm going to, that this card strikes me as congressional Republicans, even MAGA, who, if they're smelling the current going the other way, as far as the Epstein thing goes, some of them are really very hard pressed to make that decision and may be blind, but they may have no choice. They cannot. Those swords are heavy. I mean, just try to imagine holding those in that position for very long. So some of them may still be holding on, but it's getting kind of heavy. So let's see. For week 2 on the foreign stuff. Wow, the 8 of Wands in reverse. I'm not going to say ceasefire, but I'm going to say, and the Ukraine front and the Gaza front, that there may be a little bit of regrouping on both sides. Just a short pause in the action, which means this could be dangerous because once those things let loose, it could be a kind of a calm before the storm. And let's see as we go a little bit further. Someone's going to be betraying somebody else. I suspect that it could be, I'm seeing both of this as Putin and Netanyahu because I'm kind of running the Gaza-Ukraine thing. I'm wondering if it's some of these conferences that the knives will be going in, and they may be eating their own. So there could be some big kind of betrayal. And then we have here, as we get further onto the week, the High Priestess in reverse. The deep, dark secrets coming out. And when she's in reverse, with all this female energy, and this dark pillar is really apparent, what we get back to Epstein and the trafficking, there are going to be some deep, dark nasties coming out about human trafficking. And I would say that on the, what the Russians have been doing with Ukrainian children, and that this is I've been saying this all along, is that the whole Epstein it's going to take on it's not our thing, it's going to take on an international thing, and there's going to be some nasty stuff coming out about it. See how this is all tied together. So week number 2 ends up with, someone's going to get caught with their hands in the cookie jar. I would say that this is on it's 7 of Swords, with a number of things that the Brazilian guy, dictator's trial, that may not go so well for him. This could be a multifaceted, where it's not going to be good for Putin, Trump, or Netanyahu. That they've been getting away with stuff, and that I would say that that could be ending. See, the thing is, when people get too smug and sure of themselves, they get careless. So it's like the version of the guy with his foot stepping in the rope. So the week ends up with the Hanged Man in reverse, and when this is upright, this guy is getting some water. I guess she's getting ready to cut him loose. It's in reverse, so it's going to be, it kind of goes like they're smug. They've been getting away with stuff for so long. They think someone's going to come and bail them out, but it's in reverse. But I think what I'm saying is, I think we're going to see part of the unraveling and falling apart. Okay, so that is week 2. And then we will do week 3 coming up in just a moment here. I remember now I had a bunch of decks ready, but I'm too late. Okay, so give these a bit of a shuffle up, and I did like I did with the last one. Okay, so week number 3 is coming up, and this in here somewhere. Okay, so week 3. Give this a bit more of a shuffle. Okay, week 3. I would say it looks like whatever is going on all fronts is intensifying, and I really get a sense that we're going to be the hurricanes have been kind of out there in the Caribbean. I think we're going to be starting to see those pretty soon. So week 3 will start out in the Before Tarot. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Ten of Cups in reverse. Now in the Before Tarot, this is, you need to get the rain before you get the rainbows. But since this is in reverse, the storm is going to be, just as I was mentioning, hurricanes. There could be some weather coming in, and they're not going to be seeing the rainbow pretty soon. I would say that while we have troops spreading mulch in D.C. and all this other kind of bullshit, that what this is saying is that there may not be a rainbow, and that storm is not going to pass. So we're going to have that with being totally unprepared and total chaos as week through. Now, we could be getting these hurricanes sooner, but this is when they're really bad. Is it ever going to end? Are we going to see the rainbow? So This could be it at its worst. Okay, so well, that's a way to start on the domestic front. So let's see what we got here. Okay. Again. Again with the Four of Swords in reverse, which is, I keep hearing, and this resonates with me, there, and it doesn't necessarily mean Trump, but that there is going to be the death of some big wheel, some big world leader. It could be happening, or it could be someone that's incredibly ill. I'm not going to venture to say who it is, but it could be a biggie. So we got that little cheery thing here. Then as we go further into week 3, we have the High Priestess. And I think I've heard sometimes that this could be, is this the High Priestess? Yeah. Yeah, the High Priestess, that this is heavy female energy. So I would say this could be the women's vote. This could be an awakening of a lot of women voters, and that I really think that this whole Epstein thing is going to, the women voter and the women coming forward, because I just had a guide tell me, don't forget, they said today, if Congress doesn't release the list, we're going to be releasing our own lists. So they're getting ready to reveal some secrets. And the thing that's, as much as people like to slam the Democrats, and I have my issues, the one thing is that they've been consistent as let the chips fall where they may. If there are Democrats involved with this, they need to be held accountable. That's totally different than the Republicans, but I think the Republicans, where it hits home, may be starting to feel a little bit different. Say if it's some of our own, they need to be held. So there is a shift coming there. Okay, so this is the secrets being revealed. So it's like if Congress doesn't do it, they're going to do it. It's going to be all over the media, and there's not a damn thing that King Taco could do about it. So further into the week, we have King of Pentacles. He's reversed now. So this is the corrupt king, which would be a you-know-who I would say, and this goes along with that Six of Pentacles from the last previous week, is that he's going to try to throw money at it because that's all he knows how to do. He's going to try to be throwing money at this whole scandal, and it looks like with following this is it's going to come to light. It's just not going to end really well. I feel like I need to do another. Okay. Then we have the Magician, which I'm going to say that, and this is, I hope this isn't wishful thinking. This could be the Democrats seeing that they've got everything they need. It's like they have everything they need to do to make themselves winners with this, and that this is their golden opportunity to take advantage of it. I am getting a feeling that if it weren't, if it were the Epstein files were not a factor, they might let a lot of this slip through their fingers. But I think with that coming up, they may actually grab the golden ring. Certainly hope so. So, on the foreign front, we have the 5. I see this guy as Putin, Trump, Netanyahu, that dude in Hungary, the dictator of Turkey. all of them rolled into one where they think they've got all the spoils, but look at the background. That's pretty bleak. Look, people are, even the animals are walking away from them. They're losing their support. They're so smug in getting their goodies, they don't realize that their support is leaving them. Oh, as we go on, small catastrophes, that little reprieve of the previous week, they're saying it's over, nothing hugely catastrophic, but a bunch of little skirmishes going on. I'm seeing this mostly in Ukraine. I don't know if there's much left in Gaza to destroy. Hate to put it that way, but and then as we go further, and I shuffled the really, really bad leadership with insecurity and all this sort of thing from those two broads that, awful. Gabbard and Noam. I mean, this is losing, just losing security and all this sort of thing because of their lies. Boy, of those, they need to go. That's for sure. So not making anything better than we have our card of the month. One of our cards of the month. This is going to be calling into account. The signal is going to come. Oh, and let's not forget about happy hour Hegseth either. There is going to be a very, very strong message coming from the EU, and that is a result of the Madam President almost getting killed from the plane incident with the Russians. A lot of things coming to light. I think what this is talking about is people in the U.S. letting the rest of the world know, hey, we didn't vote for this. Don't blame me. I voted for her. And possibly the rest of the world seeing that. Okay, so then we end the week with, week number 3 ends with, Yep, we have the smug merchant being waited on and making a pig out of himself. Gee, I wonder who that could be. Okay, when that happens and they feast and everything, the world has a tendency to crumble around them and they can't see it. So this is talking about further falling from grace domestically and internationally. So this is week number 3 wrapping up. So we're going to go on to week number 4. I think a lot of things are going to be coming to a head. I think some of the others are saying that October is going to be, I think the astrologers are saying October is going to be really something else. So, okay, week number 4. Woo, don't want to get these all over the floor. Okay, week number 4. We have it beginning with he 7 of Pentacles. He does not look happy. It looks like he's finished it, but he's thinking maybe I should plow this whole sucker back in. He just not, what have we planned? Getting back to the Epstein thing, I think this is like, you're not going to get them all turned around. This could be some of the MAGA folk, either in the public or the private sector, who are continuing to have buyer's remorse. That's why polls are going down. I would not be surprised if By mid-October, don't forget where you heard it, the polls will be in the maybe in the 20 percentiles, like 28, 29. Now, I've been beating the drum that the polls are a bunch of bullshit, but, and I say this is, I think his approval rating is even lower. That's what I'm going to say, is that the approval rate is lower. So, we will do a little. So this is a buyer's remorse. It's not a mass exodus. I would say it's a more drip, drip, drip kind of a thing. And I suspect that next year it may be a number of them, they just may sit it out, which could be instrumental in flipping some states blue. Okay, so domestically, which probably means Epstein, we have the Page of Swords. So, Kelsey, a whistleblower. There will be a whistleblower inside the White House. And beginning of the year when Musk was having his little pricklets destroying things, that I always thought one of them was a spy in the camp. I still believe that, but it could be partially that, or it could be in the White House, that there will be some whistleblowing. And it'll be from a young person. Okay. Should be interesting. The Emperor in reverse. The further decline of Cankles. And he'll get meaner and nastier. Maybe he wants to occupy Pittsburgh or something like that. But this also is the King Has No Clothes. Hans Christian Andersen fable. And the more he screams, the weaker he is. So near the end of the month, we're going to see more of his decline. Maybe even possibly another disappearing act, which I could say maybe that's a floating possibility for the whole month. But it seems like the last month, that could be a bad one for him. Then we have the Six of Pentacles. So that give and take and bribing stuff, it's not going to be working. It's not. To me, this is about trying to shut the mouths of the well, it's also the Epstein survivors too. Some of them fall this multi thing, but throwing money at stuff just isn't going to work anymore. So so what this is all saying is that this is taking more of a life of its own, and that he can yell and scream and call the National Guard, but the louder he screams, the weaker he is. And seeing his physical decline, that adds a big psychological component. And this is telling me that amongst his own, they could be smelling the blood, really smelling the blood in the water. Okay, so on the foreign front, we have, they're just not going to carry our load anymore. This is like completely fed up. I do, from talking to my Canadian and European friends and British friends, they, they really feel bad for us individually. On one hand, I think I get more memes from overseas than I do domestically on my messenger, but this is kind of like we're not going to be carrying your load anymore. This is not a good thing. This really isn't. Then, okay, the Five of Cups. It's, oh, right, yes. So that, this has been called the minor arcana of the death card. So, but I also see it from like looking at the past and wallowing in it, but not learning from it and not being able to move forward, which in a sense is a form of living death. So we've got this in reverse. And that's really not good. This is telling me that when this nightmare is over, and it will be over, it's going to take us a long time. We're going to have, the next president will have to be, I'm thinking he's getting a little bit up there, but it's going to have to be someone like a John Kerry, who's really, really, really well versed in foreign affairs, possibly multilingual. Well, I think Buttigieg may be that, but I don't know. But someone that's kind of like a John Kerry, who's very, very in tune with the foreign affairs thing and could probably burst into French and Spanish, that kind of a thing. I think we're going to need somebody like that because it's a mess. Okay. Moving right along, the moon. Oh, boy. In reverse. Okay, this is all now, it's getting back to it's like more of this sicko stuff that's revealed. What I think is going to happen is that some of these Ukrainian kids that have been captured, there could be rescued, and the stories that we hear are going to make what you heard today sound like Mary had a little lamb. I mean, it's, this whole thing, this whole Epstein, I really see this, things, it's like the rich have gotten away with this since the dawn of time. And so what I'm seeing this could be falling apart, at least for a cycle anyway. And then we have, to round off the month, going the 9 of Pentacles. Oh, I'm seeing a lot. I'm seeing some oligarchs losing their fortune as a result of these scandals. That there's going to be not being able to live the life of luxury anymore due to lawsuits. The E. Jean Carroll, I think, is the tip of the iceberg. I think there's going to be a lot of these cases and a lot of oligarchs internationally losing their fortune. I think this goes to the Russian ones because Putin's killing off, he's just killing off more of them right and left too. So there is going to be a shakeup internationally in the oligarchy from Silicon Valley to Vladivostok, which is like, it's in Siberia. Okay, so rounding out the 4th week of this month in September, and then we're getting into Halloween season. It's like we're gearing up for that. I notice all these autumn colors, that we may be getting a very autumny feel in it'll be hot weather with the leaves turning. I like that. Okay, so then we have, to wrap up the week, we have the Chariot. Let's see. Oh, yeah. The after. Okay. Yeah. In the after, when this is an upright, these sphinxes are getting, they're getting they're getting hitched, for the day. But in the view of the world, as far as we're concerned, there is no rest. The whole world has got to be pushing forward, even if we're not. So, I'm looking at this as sort of kind of like there is no rest in these issues. these poor guys are not going to be getting any kind of rest. And this is not in like, woohoo, chariot, we're moving forward. It's going to be like, oh my God, it's just going to drag on and on and on. So, pretty much to conclude, I would say with this month, the Epstein affair will be sucking all the air out of the room. As much as they don't want it to happen, it's going to spill into the rest of the world. It's going to be in, it's going to be in the Middle East. They've been, these rich oil people, they do love their child brides and all this sort of thing. So this is going to be a story that is never, there's not going to be any rest from it. As much as MAGA Mike and the rest of them are saying, though, that genie that came out of the bottle with these women today, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she's saying Lauren Boebert, and the rest of them are all signed on. They may actually start talking to each other again. This is it taking on such a life of its own. It's going to spill into every aspect of our life, and there will be some judiciary things. Now, that's interesting. I didn't get Justice, or I did get Queen of Swords reversed, but I didn't get her upright or King of Swords. So I know a lot of things are going against him in the courts now, but the big stuff comes in October. That's when the Supreme Court reconvenes. So as far as because all of this stuff is going to be appealed anyway. So it's interesting that didn't show up, because the big stuff is just not going to happen till next month. Although there's a possibility that they may come back a little early. Not saying mid-month, but they may come back a little bit earlier. But I getting a sense that going into October, that will be the court stuff that's going to be happening. So at any rate, that's what I see for September. So I will be back. So I'm hoping I will be posting more often. So I will see you soon. Okay, bye for now.